2026, there's a whole set of costs that quietly disappear the moment you become a senior in this country, and most Canadians go their entire retirement without ever seeing the full list laid out in one spot. Some of it is a straightforward government benefit hiding in plain sight. Some of it is a tax credit that gets subtracted from what you owe automatically, whether you ever ask for it or not. And some of it only reaches you if you fill out a specific form. Otherwise, it simply passes you by. There's also a change taking effect this July on July 3rd that puts extra money into seniors' bank accounts without them lifting a finger. And the very last item on this list is worth more in real dollars than almost anything else will cover. So stick around, because that's the one people leave sitting on the table most often. Here's what I'm promising you for the next few minutes: a full walkthrough of the credits, the rebates, the free services, and the exemptions available to you, who qualifies for each one, and exactly how to go claim it, explained in plain language. This isn't a scheme, it isn't a scam, and I'm not selling you anything. This is money that already belongs to you. Programs your province and your government already run, built from a system you've paid into your entire working life. My only goal is making sure you're actually collecting what's yours. I'm your host here at Canada Pension Hub, and after years working inside Canada's pension, tax, and benefits system, the thing that still frustrates me is how much of this simply goes unclaimed. Not because people don't deserve it, but because nobody ever spelled it out clearly. So before we dive in, do me a favor. Subscribe and hit the bell. Information like this rarely gets the spotlight it deserves, and most people only stumble onto each item years after they could have been using it. Subscribe now, and let's get into it. Let's begin with the one that's changing this very month, since timing matters here. The GST/HST credit, that quarterly rebate the government sends to lower and modest income Canadians to help offset sales tax, has long been one of the most overlooked supports available to seniors. It's completely tax-free, it never counts toward your income, and it never even appears on your tax return. Here's what's new. As of July 3rd, 2026, that credit is being folded into a larger, newly created payment called the Canada Groceries and Essentials Benefit. For those who qualify, that means roughly a 25% bump over what the old credit used to pay out. Same concept. Bigger deposit, still entirely tax-free. And on top of that regular quarterly payment, the government already issued a one-time top-up back in June. The next place seniors quietly stop paying full price is the pharmacy counter. The moment you turn 65 anywhere in this country, you become eligible for your province's seniors drug plan. And most people have no clue how generous that coverage actually is. In Ontario, for instance, the Ontario drug benefit switches on automatically the first day of the month after your 65th birthday. No application needed, you're simply covered. From there, instead of paying full price for prescriptions, you're on the hook for a small annual deductible of $100, followed by a co-payment of just a few dollars per prescription for the rest of the year. If your income is on the lower end, you can apply for the Seniors Co-Payment Program, which erases that deductible entirely and drops each prescription down to a flat $2. Every province runs its own version. British Columbia, Alberta, and the rest all have their own senior pharmacare programs. But here's the catch that trips people up the most. The low-income top-up is almost never applied automatically. You have to go request it. So if you're still paying more than a couple of dollars per prescription, that's your cue to check. Next up is something close to my heart, because it's where I watch seniors bleed money quietly, year after year: property tax. If you own your home, you may not need to keep paying it the way you always have. Ontario offers the Senior Homeowners Property Tax Grant, up to $500 back annually for homeowners 64 and older with modest income, claimed directly on your tax return. British Columbia runs a property tax deferment program. If you're 55 or older, you can legally postpone your property tax bill through a low-interest government loan, keeping that cash in your account today instead of handing it to City Hall. Worth noting, BC updated this program for 2026, so the interest terms work a bit differently than before, and it's worth reading the current rules. But the core idea, pay later instead of now, is still on the table for cash-strapped senior homeowners. The bigger point is this: Nearly every province has some version of a senior property tax grant, deferral, or rebate, and it's one of the most ignored line items on this entire list. Don't assume that bill has to be paid in full, on time, the way it always has been. And speaking of your home, here's one that actually pays you back for staying in it. If you're 65 or older, the Federal Home Accessibility Tax Credit lets you claim expenses for renovations that make your home safer to live in. Grab bars, a walk-in tub, a wheelchair ramp, non-slip flooring, a stair lift, a widened doorway. You can claim up to $20,000 in eligible expenses and recover 15% of that on your taxes. Roughly $3,000 back for work you may have already been planning to pay for outright. Most people finish these renovations without ever realizing the government quietly covers part of the bill. If aging in place is the plan, and for most of us it is, know that making your home safer doesn't have to cost you full price. Save your receipts and claim it at tax time. Now let's talk about 3 things buried inside your tax return itself, because the tax system stops charging you full price the moment you hit 65, and almost nobody claims all 3. First is the age amount. Once you turn 65 by year's end, the government shields several $1,000s of your income from federal tax. Money you simply stop paying tax on, as long as your income stays modest, phasing out only once your income climbs fairly high. For plenty of seniors, that's well over $1,000 a year they shouldn't be sending in. Most tax software applies it automatically, but if someone's doing your return by hand, or you've simply never checked, confirm it's there. Second is the pension income amount. If you receive eligible pension income, up to $2,000 of it comes to you completely tax-free every year. Third, and this is the one couples leave behind constantly, is pension income splitting. If you and your spouse are both retired and one of you draws a bigger pension, you're allowed to shift up to half of that eligible income onto your spouse's return, dropping you both into a lower bracket and cutting your household's total tax bill, sometimes by thousands of dollars. It's completely legal, deliberately built into the system, and done with a single form come tax season. If you're a Let me pause here because I know what some of you are thinking. This all sounds too good to be true. If it were real, wouldn't someone have told me already? And that's exactly the problem. Nobody's telling you because none of it happens automatically, and there's no single office whose job is to make sure you're collecting everything you're owed. Your bus company won't call you. Your bank won't volunteer it. The CRA processes what you claim. It doesn't chase you down offering more. The whole system runs on the assumption that you already know the rules. That's exactly why a list like this matters, and why I want you keeping a pen handy to jot down what applies to you. Because we're only halfway through. Next is dental, and this one's a genuinely new lifeline that didn't even exist for most seniors a couple of years back. The Canadian Dental Care Plan now covers seniors 65 and older, provided you're a resident, you've filed your taxes, you don't carry private dental insurance, and your adjusted family net income sits under $90,000. If your family income falls under $70,000, the plan covers your eligible dental work with zero cost at the chair. No copayment whatsoever. Cleanings, exams, fillings, dentures, the exact things seniors put off for years because the price tag was frightening. If cost has kept you away from the dentist and you don't have private coverage, check your eligibility because this benefit alone can be worth hundreds, sometimes thousands a year. Dental isn't the only care that gets cheaper or free once you're a senior. Your provincial health plan starts picking up things it makes everyone else pay for. Take your eyes. In Ontario, once you turn 65, OHIPI covers a major eye exam roughly every 18 months and every 12 months if you have a condition like diabetes, glaucoma, or cataracts. No referral, no bill, just your health card. Most provinces restore optometry coverage for seniors in a similar way. It doesn't stop there. Most provinces also fund vaccines for seniors that younger adults pay out of pocket for, like the high-dose senior flu shot and the shingles vaccine, and many run free or subsidized foot care and podiatry clinics for older adults, since keeping seniors mobile and healthy is cheaper for the system than the alternative. None of it gets announced with a press release, so once you hit 65, ask your pharmacist and your doctor one simple question. What does my province cover for me now that it didn't a year ago? You'll be surprised how often the answer is something you've been quietly paying for. Then there's getting around town. Public transit. Nearly every city in the country gives seniors a break the general public doesn't get, and in some places it's completely free. Many transit systems offer free or heavily discounted fares starting at 60 or 65. Some offer free rides on certain days of the week. Some hand you a flat seniors pass for a fraction of regular cost. But just like everything else here, it's not